Hey, you already know what time it is, baby. It's 8 o'clock. It's Thursday. We getting ready to get into the building with the birdcage. But before we get into it tonight, go ahead and click that subscribe button on YouTube for us or whatever, and click those like buttons so we can get it up. And everybody that's on Facebook, we'll be there in a minute. Birdcage, it's in effect. Let's go.
Okay, y'all, this is it.
What's going on? What's going on? You already know what time it is. Falcon fans, we back in the building. Birdcage is official tonight. We got some Falcon news tonight that we gonna get into. No guest tonight, but we got something coming up in the works. But definitely welcome back to the cage. We got to get it in tonight. But before we get it in, I gotta bring in my guys tonight that's gonna help me host the show tonight, and we're gonna bring something down. But first off, I gotta drag my guy from outside, being in that nice Georgia heat. My man Killian K. Dub Worthy. What's going on, Big Kill? How you feeling, baby?
Man, good to be in the cage tonight. Good to see everybody, all my listeners, subscribers out there that want to come into the cage and get a little bit of content. I'm glad to see everyone that showed up. It's going to be a great show. We don't have a special guest tonight, but hey, look, we can hold it down by ourselves, baby. We got this.
Hey, man, we was holding this thing down before we started sliding folks in here. But darn it, we love them people that come up in here, though. I tell you that much. It's a beautiful thing when we get visitors to come to our house.
Yeah, already.
You know, like how Prime said it back in the day, this is my house. He said, I built this no matter where I go. I'm in Philly, baby, but you already know this is the birdcage, baby. This is our house. We built this thing here, baby.
You know what I'm saying?
I gotta bring in one of our fellow veterans, you know, the salt and pepper man of the group, our man Gray Beard, better known as Glenn. What's happening?
Good evening, Glenn.
Fellas, Birdcage family, how y'all doing?
Hey man, like we say, you either get right or you get left. So apparently we getting right with it tonight. So ain't nobody getting left. So welcome to the building, man. You already know how it goes down, baby. So now we also got to bring in one of our fellow veterans as well, also Falcon fan, high school coach, our man, Coach Cam. What's going on out there in the desert, baby?
It's hot, baby. It's super hot, but I'm happy to be here. Let's get to it.
Hey, man, well, apparently you got right, so you ain't getting left tonight. So welcome back home, baby. Welcome back home. So the first thing we gonna talk about tonight, let me set the ambiance for this real quick. I gotta go ahead and set the ambiance, man. And you know what? It's better late than never. But you know, my man, you know, he's another coach that's been out in the field getting it in. Right now, he's probably sitting on the front porch sipping a little bit of iced tea. We bringing in our man Scoop, the Black Wall Street Journal. What it do?
Cooper too.
Scoop, we can't hear you, big dog.
I want to apologize because it's fried chicken day, so I got my fried chicken right now.
You gotta get it in.
K-Dub, you understand, K-Dub. I mean, it's been a long day.
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You just gonna come up in here. You ain't got no hot sauce. You ain't got no cornbread, no sweet. Okay, you got the hot sauce. But you ain't got enough chicken for everybody on this panel. But you gonna eat in front of us like that. That's so rude.
You got folks at home looking, subscribe.
That JJ Fish, man.
Hey man, somebody say
you know what it is, Glenn.
We hungry.
You know what it is.
Hey, what color?
Yeah, hold on. We do know what it is. Apparently, you got right, and we got left with the food, so we got to take it for what it is. We taking our L's tonight.
How y'all doing, man?
How y'all
doing?
Man? About to jump on this out the cage segment while you sucking down some barnyard pimp. So the first thing we got to get into tonight, man. Falcons stay in the news for just foolishness, even if it's our former players. Former Falcons coach and former quarterback June Jones.
Yo, what happened?
Ryan, you went out.
What happened?
I think he's talking about June Jones getting arrested over there in Hawaii, guys. This is on this panel. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to take over for Ryan for a second, but this is what we're talking about, the arrest of June Jones, the former Falcon, former head coach of the Falcons over in Hawaii. What are your thoughts, guys? Go ahead. Glenn.
Damn if you do, damn if you don't. I don't know what June Jones was thinking, man. Apparently he got caught DUI. And then on top of that, he was beaten. That made it even worse. So, you know, just think about if he would have hit somebody. Reckless endangerment can all the way up to murder. You know, with a weapon or whatever. So I don't know what he was thinking. He's too old for this. I mean, it just do better. That's all I'm gonna say, man. Do better, man. Do better.
Okay, Coach Cam, what you think about that situation?
I don't really have. I don't have much to say about it. I didn't hear anything about it until today. But hearing he was probably having too much fun and he probably ain't got no supervision. So it's a very unfortunate situation that he was arrested. But the silver lining in this is that no one was hurt. So he's gonna have to pay his dues. But it's just unfortunate that, you know, he was out there doing what he was doing and now he's arrested. You know, it doesn't really put a blemish on the organization, but it just looks bad, you know, for another former player of the Falcons to get in some kind of, you know, trouble with the law. So it's just unfortunate situation all the way around.
Okay, Scoop, what are your thoughts?
So I've never been to Hawaii. I never had the pleasure of being in Hawaii. So all I'm gonna do right now is use my imagination.
Okay.
So I mean, me using my imagination, I'm assuming that he probably was around a few young ladies, maybe, or maybe, you know, people that he congregate with to have fun, and he participated in libation, and one drink led to another, and he took off and, you know, was headed back home or wherever he was headed to. Ultimately, I think it can happen to anybody, but in the state of Hawaii, I mean, there's plenty of distractions. I just imagine that, you know, they just caught him this one time. So hopefully it don't happen again. I'm not really just trying to make light of it, but at the same time, I can only imagine what the circumstance might have been. So I'm hoping that he learned from this lesson.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts are
Hawaii,
that
just like Hawaii.
To Hawaii Hawaii quite a few times, and he lives there, so he's very aware of the island and the island culture, and he played over there, if I'm not mistaken. So he's very, very familiar with the situation. I just feel like people go through things in life, and he may be going through something in his personal life that led him to be drinking and driving and making irresponsible and bad decisions that led him to get pulled over for a DUI. I mean, I hate to see it this later in stage in his life, but I think he's really going through something personally, and he just got caught up in the situation like a lot of people could. Like, you know, either me and you, if we, you know, had a rough couple of weeks or whatever it may be, something happened tragically in our families, and then it could easily happen to us. So I think it's just a blip on the radar. I think, you know, he's well connected over there in Hawaii, so I feel like he'll get a slap on the wrist over there, and in a couple months you won't even hear about it. But that's just my thoughts. I mean, he still has to pay his punishment. A lot of people could have got hurt. You know, and some people could have died. But, you know, like I said, you know, fortunately, no one did die or get hurt. So he can learn from the situation and move on.
I mean, they got speed trap just like everywhere else, man. They got DUI check just like everywhere else, man. Hawaii is no different from Georgia, Florida, Texas, Wyoming. It don't matter. So if you do DUI, it's a crime. So like you said, Cam, it ain't gonna be a blemish on the Falcons or whatever. It's just unfortunate that he got put that he was associated with the Falcons, but you know, nobody got hurt, man. He got out $500 bond. He'll probably have to do some community service or whatever, and just keep it pushing.
All right, Ryan, you back? I can't hear you, Brian. We can't hear you.
Oh man.
But the thing that gets me about this whole situation, though, he only got a $500 bond.
For real.
That's the thing that trips me out. That's the thing that gets me. $500 bond, and he was doing what, 80 and some change?
Yeah, he was beating. They can't even doing like. They can't. I read the article. He was like doing like 15 or 20 over the speed limit.
But he been in Hawaii how long? So I mean, I'm sure that they knew who he was when they pulled him over.
Oh,
probably. Yeah, but I mean, still like a $500 bond, bro.
Yeah, as long as he wasn't doing this, go Phil Barrett, man. As long as he wasn't doing over there. All I'm saying.
And then our second topic was NFL banning Eagles and Chiefs for blaming the Eagles and Chiefs for bad fields and bad turfs out there. So go ahead, Scoop. Anybody has thoughts on that? Those out there?
Hey, what teams you said, K-Dub?
Philly and Kansas City.
Yeah, Philly and Kansas City. Eagles.
So Washington went on there?
You said what now?
Washington wasn't on there? They got the worst field in the league.
Yeah.
For real. For real.
How many quarterbacks have they taken out, or players on their own team that have taken out what they feel?
Way too many.
10.
Like
10.
Cleveland's field is pretty bad too. I've been to their field, and that field is terrible.
Let's see that. To answer your question, K-Dub, like it's no excuse for it, man. Like, they generate so much money, they should be able to maintain the field. Simple as that.
Yeah. Okay.
So how about now?
There you go, sir.
Yeah, he's back.
I have no idea what happened with the microphone, gentlemen, but I appreciate you, Kill, for going ahead and grabbing the reins for me while I was making sure we got that microphone straight.
Okay, I tried to step on up. Okay.
You know what? Hey, I'm kind of nervous now because you know you might be trying to take food off my plate, dog. You did that, dog.
Vice President.
Hey, I'm just joking,
Okay.
bro. Nah, hey,
Okay.
this is what we do, man. We family in here, man. We like to cut up, but if something goes wrong, somebody else gonna grab the horn or whatever. This is how we operate around here. This is our thing right here, baby. So
CMB, we
appreciate
all
it.
we got.
We
Yes,
all
sir. So I'm glad. So
CMB.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, fellas. So all right. So I'll say this: we saw during that Super Bowl all those athletes changing cleats, and if you notice, they had different spikes on. Now, out of all the games that happened during the season in Arizona, you know what I'm saying, for the Cardinals or whatnot, there's never any issue with the field. However, the first time, because that's not the first Super Bowl that they've had in Phoenix, that's the second one. And there's never been a problem with the turf. They tried a new grass and it just didn't work. But you make adjustments. That's what you're a professional for. You got to be able to play on any surface or terrain on the field. And that's just what you do. But like I said, there's no need to sit here and cry because I've been hearing Eagle fans crying about it all summer. Well, the grass wasn't right. It's like, dog, you know what? Quit crying about it. Take the L. It is what it is. You got to the dance. Get back. Y'all didn't make the adjustments. I'm not going to blame just the field conditions on what happened. Let's blame that historic pass rush that they had that almost broke the 85 Bears record. They almost broke it, but didn't. And we didn't see any pass rush in that Super Bowl to affect Patrick Mahomes. Let's be real on that. If you can't rush the quarterback, especially a Patrick Mahomes, he is going to pick you apart. He don't even have to leave the pocket, and he literally can pick you apart. He can beat you with his legs or his arm. And then they didn't tackle Isaiah Pacheco. So let's be real. It ain't all the grass's fault because the other team had to adjust to that too. So I'm tired of the excuses. Just like I tell Falcon fans, I'm tired of hearing everybody make excuses about 28-3. And then 1998 when we ended up losing that Super Bowl. Let's just be real. We got beat that day. Y'all got me in the mood to preach, man. I'm in the congregation right here, as y'all can see. Uncle Troy, Michael Vick, you know what it is. DSGB. Shout out to Uncle P. Troy. Y'all got me in here preaching tonight, man, but we ain't gonna do that. Let's slide over, keeping it with the Eagles. Wide receiver Devin Allen claims to be the fastest player in the NFL. He beat Tyreek Hill in college. I gotta let Cam start with this one because Cam is coaching right now, and I'm gonna slide that to Scoop, and then we're gonna go counterclockwise on this one. I want to hear the coach's thoughts on this first.
Okay.
What's the video evidence? As a coach, that's what I want to see. What's the video evidence? You claim that you beat this man. Provide evidence that you did it. Anyone can say, "Oh, I beat this guy," or "I was this great," but then when you pull up videos and photos, that same individual who was talking the loudest is the last person on the end of the bench. So until you prove that you can beat this man in a race one-on-one, either you're going to set it up so the world can see it, or you need to bring the evidence to the forefront and stand on that claim. But until we see it or until he shows it, it's just hearsay. Because as of right now, Tyreek Hill, he's proven it on the national stage. He's proven how fast he is. So he can stand on the things that he says. We've watched him race in the actual track meet against athletes who train for this. And he blew them out the water. So until Devon Allen brings that evidence and says, I can show y'all I beat this man, it's going in one ear and out the other.
Scoop, what you got?
All I got to say is my boy out of Coffee County ran a 10.19 in the 100 meters. So I don't know what Devin or Devon Allen is saying as far as fast. I don't know if he's talking about just getting up out of the chair or if he's trying to get up out the cold tub. I don't know what he's referring to. I don't even know what the metric is to find out who the fastest is, but 10-1-9, man. And anybody that know anything about speed, Tyree Hill is picking them up and putting them down. 10-1-9. Shit. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I got to give a shout out before I let Killian get started to our guy Daniel Ryan Woodle. Just got out of surgery, consistent listener. Get well, bro. Thank you for coming in, man. Watching us tonight. We praying for you. I'm just blessed. We're just blessed that you got out of surgery. Well, and we just want you to have a speedy recovery, brother. We love you. Continue to keep coming in because you know it wouldn't be the same if I couldn't baptize you on Sundays, bro, with information. So, you know, I love my guy Daniel. He gets me too. Now, I'm not going to act like I'm invincible. He's bust my bubble too, but got to give him a shout out, man. K-Dub, what you got?
Oh, man, what I got, man, I'm talking about, I mean, if you beat him one time, you should be able to beat him again. We want to see something like you said on record. We want to see something on film, so set it up, put a little money up. You know, hey, look, y'all in the league, put a little something up. You know, let the world see. You can put it on the podcast, Cheetah. You know what I'm saying? It might get some likes, get some subscribers.
I think it's gonna get more than that. Shoot, might get some endorsement deals.
It might do. I mean, you know, hey, I just say let's make it an event out of it and let them race again. While you talking all this trash, let you know, fastest man in the NFL competition. Maybe a Falcon want to get it now. Who knows? I don't know.
Because so what you gonna put Scotty Miller in there?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, whoever the Falcons teammates feel like is the fastest person on the team, that's who they think I don't go to practice every day to know who's the fastest.
Well, we've heard that Scotty Miller might be one of the fastest on the team. That's what we were told.
Okay.
But who knows? But who knows? Graybeard, what you got, man?
Hey, man. Action speak louder than words, man. I'm like Cam, man. I need to fit. I want to fit. If you about it, if you talk about it, man, be about it, man. I mean, like, this man ran a 10-1. Anybody that have ran track, you hear somebody say 10-1, you like, man, come on. 10-1?
No.
Well, I mean, if Allen is that fast and he beat him in college, even though college and pro are two different things, prove it.
I wouldn't say college and pro because that speed don't really change based on the level. You can improve on it, but it don't really change. But again, like Scoop said, Tyreek ran a 10-1. It's unheard of, dude. Like, it's unheard of. So we have it on paper. We have it in black and white. We have it on video. What has Devon Allen done for us to believe that he beat Tyreek Hill in a foot race 1-on-1?
I think Scotty Miller might be able to take him if you want to know the truth. Scotty Miller can't stay on the field. Unfortunately, we got him. Hopefully, he can stay healthy for us because Scotty Miller's a speed demon. You're talking about a 4.35 with a guy that's a slot receiver. They can go stretch the field. So, you know, I think I might, you know, for once, I'm gonna put my money on the Dirty Bird. I always put my money on my boys, but I'm really gonna put my money on a Dirty Bird when it comes to you talking about one of these boys that come up out of Philadelphia yakking off at the mouth. You got to get through the preliminaries before you can get to the champ.
Scotty Miller ran a 10-500 meter. We just said that Tyree Hill ran a 10-1-9.
Yeah. Oh,
exactly. Why you think I said I'll say Scotty Miller?
Whole another class.
Yeah, you talking about world class speed. So let's keep it a buck on that, man. That's something that's God given. Like, we might have another Tim DeWhite with Scotty Miller if he can stay healthy. We might have another Tim DeWhite. You know what I mean? But we'll see if he can stay on the field. But getting back to it. Speaking of speed and receivers, we're gonna slide over to Duval County or whatever. You know, former Falcons wide receiver, Mr. Calvin Ridley, has been the talk of the Jaguars training camp and is geared for a breakout season since he missed last year, according to wide receiver Jamal Agnew. He's saying if you read the report, it's online. He talks about how he's such a great route runner. He's a precision guy. None of the guys can cover him, good speed. But here's the thing. We all saw this in Atlanta while he was here. We saw
Mhm.
this. I think he was just tired of being in Atlanta, and I think he took plays off his last season that he played for us before he got in trouble. I'm just gonna be real with you on that, because not many people can run with that kid. What you got for me? I'm gonna let Gray Bid start it, and it's gonna go to Kill, Scoop, and then Coach.
I mean, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for redemption, man. Especially for
Hmm.
Calvin Ridley, man. He got too much talent to throw away, man. Too much talent. You seen it in Alabama, and like I said, you seen it his rookie year in Atlanta when Julio was on the field, man. You just seen what he
Hmm.
can do, man. So I believe, and I also believe he wants to get paid too. I think he really wants to show people why he got picked away. I mean, the pick. I mean, when he got picked or whatever. But at the same time, he want to be like, look, remind people. But I'm still that dude. Now I'm back home in Florida, whatnot. I'm about to show out. So I agree with you, Ryan. A change of scenery might have been just what he needed.
And he back home in his home state of Florida, so you don't know what that's gonna do to that kid. Kill, what you got?
Well, I feel like a lot of things that Agnew's saying, the league already knows that he's a precision route runner, and the things that his hands and his abilities and all things like that. Can you stop gambling, sir? That's what we want to know. We know you're a great football player, but can you toe the line and do the things you're supposed to do to stay in the league? That's the main question.
Hmm.
So him being a very good player, that's not up for debate. That's why we took him when we took him in the first round. That's why he was like Graybeard said, he produced in his first year here as a Falcon. I mean, it's just the fact that can we trust you as an organization? Apparently, we couldn't trust him. That's why we moved on from him. I wish him the best in Jacksonville because it secures us a better pick down the line. Other than that, that's all I got to say about Mr. Calvin Ridley.
And for those who don't know, it's going to be a number 2 pick, by the way, if they extend him and go ahead and sign him. But they're poised to be a dangerous team. Scoop, what do you think that this young man, Jamal Agnew, he put this information out? How do you think that he's going to really make this offense for Jacksonville go? And they already have a ton of weapons.
Well, see, Slide Red, he's like a precision route runner anyway. So he's a mismatch regardless. But the fact that you got Trevor Lawrence, T-Law can extend plays, so he'll find them open anyway.
Mm.
The thing is with Jamal Agnew though, I mean, what he supposed to say? Like you got Slide Red in, for whatever the price may be. What he supposed to say? That's your teammate. You supposed to. You supposed to say that. I think now though, you put Jacksonville on this path of whether or not they can actually make that move and elevate in their division, because the division is still up for grabs. Really, Jacksonville in the same situation we in. Like who's gonna actually come through in that division, and that's gonna be the key.
Honestly, that division, Jacksonville is gonna own that division because none of those teams in that division are really competing with them. Let's just be real.
Mm.
Jacksonville is loaded, and the way that Doug Peterson, even in his first year, was able to put together a team that was not bare. Urban Meyer screwed up, but he drafted very well. So he inherited a lot of great players off the rip. And now that you have these young guys that are here that you've drafted now, you're bringing in a veteran like Calvin Ridley to go along with that, and they got a young defense. That is going to be one of the most dangerous teams in the AFC. And honestly, if you want to know the truth, they might be the team that could be deep enough to knock out Kansas City because of the way that they drafted and the way that they are. Because they gave Kansas City a fight in Kansas City's home. I mean, just you got to give it to them. Kansas City was in a dogfight with those boys. And you're talking about an inexperienced team with a second-year quarterback who's finally finding his niche, and you're giving him a guy who's played in the playoffs with the Falcons, even if it was just one time, and got games under his belt. That's going to be dangerous. Coach Cam.
I'm gonna piggyback on what Scoop said. If you're a player in that locker room, what are you supposed to say? Especially with that individual coming off of a 4 year of not seeing the field. So anyone's going to look good in a helmet and a t-shirt and shorts. So we what I want to see is how he's going to react back on the field with full-time play. That's going to be the measure of what we're going to see from Calvin, because again, he hasn't played in he hasn't played in almost 2 years. So the last time he saw, what was it, week 5, week 6, when he left with us with mental issues. Mm-hmm. So he's been on the shelf for some time. The last person who tried to come back and do that was running back name. Can't think of his name.
You got hurt?
No. It's a running back.
What team did he come from?
Pittsburgh. It's on the tip of my tongue.
It's my James Conner.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
So we all saw what happened with the full 1 year layoff. He came back. He wasn't the same player. Calvin's going on almost 2 years of not seeing the field. So he can look good in spring ball because no one's going 100%. No one's hitting him like he's going to get hit when the season actually revs up. So I pray that he does well, because I was a huge Calvin Ridley fan, and I was one of his biggest supporters when he was going through the whole mental health thing. So I would love to see him have a great year, but also selfish because I want that second round pick. So I hope he does well, but as long as he keeps his nose clean, it's a win. It's a win for him.
Well, I'm getting ready to hit you with a historical fact, and I'm about to bring in one of y'all fellow veterans or whatnot, Mr. Rocky Bleier. Rocky Bleier had almost 2 years off from getting hit with shrapnel in Vietnam. So when you want to talk about it, Calvin Ridley's fully healthy, and he's in a position where he's not taking any punishment. Rocky Bleier was still a tough, durable warhorse, and he still did his thing and helped Pittsburgh win 4 Super Bowls. And this is after having shrapnel in his feet. This is after having, being messed up from the trauma of being in Vietnam, and he came back from that. So a guy that was sitting at his house, sitting on the couch without any kind of war stories, like you look at a guy like Rocky Bleier or any of our other vets that have come home and figured it out, I think he adjusts, because he's going to be, for a wide receiver, he takes that first hit. I think he's going to be okay, because mainly he's playing a space game right now. It's not like back in the day when you had Steve Atwater, Donovan Darius, Brian Dawkins, John Lynch, and Pat Tillman, God rest his soul, in the back and that secondary patrolling and being able to tee off on you. Big difference. These boys get to run scot-free and just pretty much have their drawers hanging out when they run. You can't clap them cheeks no more when they come across the middle. It just don't work like that.
Got cases out there lurking.
You know what? I was gonna let you have that one because I know that's your boy. I know you love you some Scott Case. I was hoping you was gonna say BJ, Mr. Brian Joy.
I mean him too, or a lot of people.
Brian Joy, we didn't get him long enough, unfortunately. He used to hit like a ton of bricks though. But getting back to it though, I'll say this. And we still staying on the receivers. So another receiver that we're gonna talk about is the Bucs wide receiver Mike Evans. He's aiming towards Jerry Rice's consecutive 1,000 his 1,000-yard seasons record as it's in sight. So if he does it again this year, he breaks Jerry Rice's record. So we finally getting ready to see one of the GOAT's records fall. How do y'all feel about this? And it's a rival on top of that.
I don't see it happening. And the reason why? His quarterback is Baker Mayfield. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. The man has not had one season where he's had over a 55% completion rating. So with that being said, the offensive line is already banged up. You really don't have a running game. So teams are pretty much going to game plan for Mike Evans.
Yeah.
What is Baker Mayfield? What has he shown in the 4 or 5 years he's been in the league that he's going to be able to?
Oh, that's messed up.
It's okay. Look, I put it up there. Hey,
yeah, man.
Well, I put it this way. He could at least said the Temptations instead of the Jackson 5. We ain't got Joe Jackson around here whooping us in the stardom.
Yeah, we do. That's Bree. That's Bree.
Hey, we ain't got Joe Jackson whooping us in the stardom, man.
Glad to see you checked in, Steve.
What's going on, Steve? Appreciate you checking in from Uncle Steve's Lounge. What's up? What's up? You know, check them out. They on YouTube. They doing their thing over there. And like I said, they show up and show us a little love sometimes. But you already know when you look at it, you know, Uncle Steve and you know John the Baptist, they more like Sam and Dave or whatever, the bald head versions. But you know, they soul men. Let me just go ahead and stop. But you know, I gotta stick to my day job. I'm not a cabaret performer, so I'm sticking to my day job.
They holding on. They holding on.
But go ahead, bro. I'm sorry. So we were talking about Mike Evans aiming for that record for Jerry Rice.
Yeah, as great as Mike Evans has been in his career, he's also had pretty solid quarterbacks behind him. Mm-hmm. Baker Mayfield is not a solid quarterback. Sorry, he's overrated and he's inaccurate. So it's going to have to take their offensive coordinator and Baker Mayfield to really work on his deficiencies for Mike to really show how great he is on the field. And that's going to take time. So we'll see how it goes, but I don't see it happening.
So I'm going to ask this question here. I'm going to come to you, Glenn, because I'm going to let you wrap this one up before we get to Dirty Bird topics. Killian. Now, I'm going to ask you this here. Scoop going to be in his feelings about this, but it's okay. They got a quarterback that's on that bench that turned that tight end that we drafted in the first round into what y'all call a unicorn. But I'm not gonna get heavy into that or whatever. I still think he's a Georgia plow mule until he proves me wrong, which I'm hoping he does. But let's be real. Kyle Trask is on the bench. As much as we can't stand Florida, all us dog fans, Kyle Trask was one guy that pretty much should have gotten a better shot at Florida than he did, because he literally put all those wide receivers into the league. Let's be real on that, because Felipe Franks definitely didn't do so.
Oh hell no.
So how do you feel if they bench, old Baker and they put Trask in? Does Tampa become more of a threat and Mike Evans hit that 1,000 yards or whatnot with a quarterback like Kyle Trask, who definitely has the tools to be a good one?
I mean, watching Kyle Trask at Florida, he's a good college quarterback. That doesn't always translate into the NFL. So, I mean, I'm not on that coaching staff. At least we've seen a sample size of Baker Mayfield. He has led a team to the playoffs. So, and then played in a lot more games than a Kyle Trask. So, I still am not a Baker Mayfield fan per se, but I'm willing to bet that they suck. So I need them to suck because I need my Falcons to rise up, like it says, and continue to compete. But I mean, I really don't believe in what they got going on. I believe Mike Evans is going to try hard. He may even get pretty close, 800, 900 yards. It may be a combination of both quarterbacks. Baker starts the season, but Kyle Trask ends the season. I mean, but I still feel like he falls short just because he's trying to break the GOAT's record. And that's what I think. I mean, I could be totally wrong. He could break the record, but I just feel like with the quarterback situation, you don't have a Tom Brady. You're going to find that out once, the season starts. You've basically been silver spoon or golden spoon for the last couple of years with Tom Brady as your quarterback. So now you're about to find out. You're about to learn today. So it is what it is.
Graybeard?
If he break the record, he deserves it. That's all I'm gonna say. Because like Cam said, man, Baker Mayfield, bro. I mean, look, man, I'm just gonna be 100. Hell no. And the reason why I say that, because of Baker Mayfield, that's number one. Number two, they just got a brand new OC, the quarterback coach that came from Seattle, gotta learn a new system. Even if you put Kyle Trask in there, he still has to learn that new system. So we don't know how it's gonna operate. Then on top of that, you still got Godwin on the other side of the ball. Like Cam K, they don't have a running game. I don't even know who their running back is. So I mean, it's just so many unknowns on that team. But we all know Baker Mayfield.
It's trash.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. If Mike ever
So-
break that record, he deserves it. Period.
Most definitely. I don't think he's gonna break 150 on us with the defense that we put together. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully Jerry Gray can have these boys locking things down like he did when he was in Houston with old Jerry Glanville, Chris Dishman, you know what I'm saying, and Mr. Old Bubba McDowell back in the day with the Hit the Beat squad back then. But getting to it, before we get to the Falcons, gotta say condolences to former Cardinals head coach Vince Tobin. He passed away, 79 years old. Rest in peace. You know, very influential guy, nice guy. Didn't really do well as a head coach, but as an assistant coach, he flourished. So, you know, he's touched many lives out here, and we really see a lot of things that's going to be going. So, rest in peace to Coach Tobin. Now, getting to our Dirty Bird topics. So, getting to our Dirty Bird topics. Desmond Ridder, Mr. Ridder, the man, the myth. Maybe he might be a legend if he plays cards right. You know, Desmond Ridder has gained the trust of the team, but will it last through 2023? You know how a lot of us on this panel feel about Desmond Ridder. We all been pulling for him since day one, since he got drafted. But we can only do but so much, and us rooting for him is not going to put production out on the field. So the question is, with the offense that we're running, you take pressure off of him by having three players that are in that backfield that are doing that thing, that are going to do that thing this year. Let me make sure I put that out right. You gave him two good tight ends, Jonnu Smith. Kyle Pitts is coming back. Hopefully, mentally, he'll be ready to go because we all know that knee injury takes at least a year mentally to recover from, not just physically, but also mentally. And then you still have Scotty Miller, Draco, you know, at that outside. And then you also have Mac Hollis as well. So with all these weapons that we have, do you think Desmond Ridder is going to be in a position to thrive and put himself in a spot where he can win ball games and get us to the playoffs, to where not only does the team trust him, his fan base trusts him and actually gives him a fair shake? Killian.
Well, my thoughts are hopefully they're 100%, 110% behind the guy. So hopefully that, you know, knowing that this is going to be his first full season as a starter, you have to get behind a young guy like that. You know, that's why we brought so many veterans in on this team to help these guys out to learn how to win. But I mean, I have faith in him so far until he proves me wrong. I'm sure a lot of his teammates may be like that, but they have to pick him up because he's not like a steady veteran. He's been in the league 6, 7, 8 seasons where he knows how to handle going through a lot of losses. So hopefully that we don't have a lot of losses and we continue to build upon this great offseason that we've had in the draft and go ahead and get like a 4 or 5, 6 game winning streak going on where we can be effective and be in a winning program, winning organization. So, and my thoughts are Desmond Ridder will do fine, but if he doesn't, hopefully we don't see Tyler Heineke come in, but we may have to rally around that guy. But my thoughts are Desmond Ridder should and would, you know, be better for us than what we had last year. So let's go.
Well, Mariota laying supine. So for folks don't know, supine is a straight out position, as you saw with him trying to throw a pass in the rain in Carolina. He should have been on the bench right after that game. But I'm gonna slide this one down to Mr. Graybeard about Ridder, and then we're gonna go ahead and kick it to school.
Just to piggyback a little bit with Killian said, I mean, if he wins the locker room, man, which I think he did during the offseason by putting in the work, by coming to summer practice, healthy for one, focused, and just in shape, man. And, the coaching staff looking at how he grasping the playbook or whatever. How he interacting with a teammate, putting in the extra rep in with Draco, putting in the extra rep in with Jono and all the other new wide receivers that we got. So I think he'll be all right, man. I think the coaching staff probably got a game plan in place. And we are a heavy run football team. We're gonna run the ball. We're gonna try to make him do as less as possible. We want him to be able to be like, look, take these short intermediate passes, man, or whatever, man. If you got so many weapons around you with Jonu, Kyle Pickle work his way back into the rotation. You got Tyler. You got a Bijan Robinson, your X factor on offense, man. So I think by him surely but surely winning the locker room, which we'll truly find that out once we get into training camp. Training camp is how you really, really commit yourself in that locker room. Then the rest, the sky's the limit.
Scoop.
Man, so I'm a big fan of Riddle. I watched him the whole time he was there in Cincinnati. I would say this: what I am trying to look at is the trajectory for Desmond Riddle. I believe that Arthur Smith put him in a position now that is very similar to Jalen Hurts. And I don't know if y'all remember, but Phillip was ready to get Hurts up out of there in year 2. So I would say this, like, I'm not expecting Ritter to be Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes, but I think that if the defense can handle the business, like we go into the playoffs and he's going to be able to manage it. Because I don't think that Arthur Smith is going to write a script that's going to be totally put the ball in Ritter's hands for him to win the game for us. I think it's going to be more so just go ahead and manage it and don't make mistakes. Simple as that.
Well, I say this: putting it in. You got this guy who's been in the offense for a year. He learned what not to do from Marcus Mariota. Let's hope that he puts that into. Let's hope that he puts that into play this year that's coming up. And we've got to hope also that this offensive line can pass block this year. So it's not all just on him. Let's keep it a buck. They can run block like it's no tomorrow, but pass blocking has been a serious issue when it comes down to the Falcons. Been a problem. If we can't protect Ritter, how in the heck is he going to get better? How is he going to be able to do some things? Yes, he can run. Yes, he can get away. But here's the thing. We don't need another Michael Vick right now. We need somebody that's going to use these playmakers that you have and actually be able to put them in position to make life easier for Ritter to win ball games, because he's got the tools to win. That's not a problem. It's the fact that can Arthur Smith get his offensive line to be better at pass blocking, And as I said last week, and talking to Terrence Mathis, and I put it out there, Arthur Smith, you're a former offensive lineman, man. You have no excuse of why your offensive line is that suspect or they go missing some games when it comes to pass protection. You got them right. You got them blocking. You got them doing well, like the Hogs of the 80s. That you came up under Mr. Joe Gibbs, who literally had 3 running backs like you're doing. You're modeling the blueprint of what he did in Washington. But the difference is that offensive line could also pass block, and they had one of the greatest offensive line coaches of all time, and Joe Bugle. So when you look at that, you've got to be able to transition these guys to protect your quarterback. Not saying that he's going to be a franchise quarterback, because him being a 3rd rounder, we know he's expendable. But if he comes in and he balls out, he might end up being a franchise quarterback if he balls out. But we'll never know if you can't keep him upright. So going to the next, we got 4 things that the Falcons must do to make the playoffs. 4 things they must do. And I'm going to go ahead and give them to you, and I'm going to go ahead and let each one of you guys break it down. So Desmond Ritter has to be in the top 15 quarterbacks. He has to play and be ranked within the top 15. Not just being a game manager. You've got to win games too with your arm and your legs at times. You've got to be high in that winning percentage with these quarterbacks this year. This is one way that we're going to win games. Secondly, the pass rush that we've brought in all these cagey veterans with these young guys, that pass rush has to exist this year. It has to. If we're going to try to win ball games and they want to play ball control, guess what? You're going to have to get pressure on these quarterbacks, and you're going to be able, and you're going to have to stop the run. You cannot let people run on you. Now, the other thing they've got to do, stop choking away games. Point blank, period. Stop choking away games. You've got to be able to win ball games at the end. You've got to be able to close it out. You got to have a benediction. You've got to have a benediction. And the other thing, last but not least, trying to get to the playoffs, as I said again, that offensive line has got to protect Desmond Ridder. Got to keep him upright. Got to keep him standing straight up. Got to keep him healthy, or whoever's going to be at that quarterback position. Because as the legendary MVP, who's known as the poster boy for breaking his leg, but people forget how good he was, Joe Theismann said you can't throw when you're on your backside. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one up to Scoop. I'm going to give each one of you guys a chance to discuss everything that I put out there and whatnot, and I want to hear your opinion on this.
Give me your 4 again, Ryan.
Desmond Ridder has to be within the top 15% of these quarterbacks with winning. Like 1 through 15, he's got to be in the top 15. He can't be at the bottom of the barrel. You got that pass rush that's got to exist because of all the moves you made in free agency. Number 3, you can't choke away ball games. And number 4, your offensive line has to be better in pass protection.
All right, so we got Dez need to be top 15. We
Yes.
got sacking the quarterback. We got being clutch in critical moments of the game, at the end of the game, towards the end of the game. We're closing out the game. And then we got
Offensive line.
the offensive line.
Yeah.
All right, so look, I agree with the pass rush. Definitely got to sack the quarterback. I would say this, and this is something that I've been harking on since Arthur Smith got here. Red zone efficiency, because there's been times over the years where we will make it all the way down the field, get all the way down to the 1, have 4 downs to score a touchdown, and don't score a touchdown. I'm gonna tell you this. I want to sweep the division.
Yeah.
You talk about trying to make the playoffs, sweep the division.
Yeah.
That'll make it real easy to go ahead and step into the playoffs. And then my last one, man, 2016, when we made it to the Super Bowl, the one thing, the common denominator, was that our offensive line started all 16 games.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can stay healthy, them 17 games, we in there. We in there like swimwear. That's my take.
Killian?
Well, just to kind of piggyback off what Scoop was saying, injuries across the board, that's what'll get us in. But I was saying what Ryan was talking about, him being a top 15 quarterback, I think as long as he's in the top 20 will get us there. That defense, that's what I need in the top 10. I need that defense to be in the top 10. Bring some fear to the rest of the division. Like Scoop was saying, let's go ahead and sweep this division. Nobody get a win. We want to beat everybody in this division, show and prove from what happened last year. I do want to piggyback off of what Ryan was saying. One of the 4 things is late game play calling. I feel like I'm hoping and I'm praying that the coaches, the last 2 years of his first time as being a head coach, he's learned from these incidents he's had in the past. You have to learn from your mistakes. I mean, I don't really think he has too much of a cushion left, because I really feel like if you don't get into the playoffs this year, Coach Arthur Smith, that your time need to be gone here in Atlanta, because we really feel like you have enough on the table. We have enough on the defense. You have enough on that offense, and I feel like Desmond Ritter got enough mustard in his tube that he can go and we can go get this thing. At least get back into the playoffs this year. I'm not saying win a Super Bowl, but at least crawl before we walk, and let's get in here and let's try to do something that we haven't done in a while. Let's go ahead and break that barrier and get back into the playoffs.
Well, I'll say this because I'm gonna let you go, Glenn, but I gotta say this. You picked the tight end and you had a chance to get a franchise quarterback. So if you got to call it for what it is, man, because think about it. You either get a quarterback or you get an anchor of your defense, point blank, period. Or you could have started off with an offensive lineman or whatnot, because we already know that the franchise offensive linemen are generally found in the first and second round. You get lucky sometimes when you get guys in the later rounds, but for you to draft tight end in the first round, I'm just being real with you on that. If you don't get to the playoffs, that is going to haunt you when it comes to other franchises. But it ain't all on Arthur Smith. Let me make sure I put this out here. That's partly Terry Fontenot as well. Because if you've been paying attention, as Mr. Chris Davis from NFL Network and places of that sort has said, it's not the head coach has a lot of influence, but that general manager is the one that pulls the trigger. So let's be real.
So
if it's a failed, here's the thing.
You're gonna blame it on one player.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not blaming it on one player, but I'm looking at all the drafts. You lucked up with Drake. It is what it is. But let's put it into perspective. If the Arthur Smith regime fails and he gets fired, Terry Fontenot don't have that much room. I'm not trying to be funny, but let's be real. You're a black man as a general manager in an organization that won't even bring back, that hasn't even brought in a black coach, as Mr. Mathis talked about. You won't bring in fellow former Falcons who literally helped build this organization to give us a reputable reputation to at least be somewhat respected, but you won't even bring them in. So what makes you think that his leash ain't going to be that short either? I get general managers don't grow on trees, but let's be real. In the NFL's history, you don't see many African Americans that get long leashes, whether they're quarterbacks, whether they're coaches, or whether they're general managers. Bobby Mitchell was the exception. But as I said before, Glenn, go ahead. I'm gonna let you get your 4 out because that was just something I had to get to before I forgot.
Man, leave Kyle Pitts alone. No, but I'm just
It's not him. It's the regime. If you're gonna build an organization, you gotta build with your offense. Here's the thing. Rome wasn't built in a day, but you notice that Rome is still standing because the foundation was built with a lot of hard work and a lot of smart decisions. Leader of your team, your quarterback. Just saying. Right. Matt Ryan was gonna be out to do it anyway. So, right. But go ahead.
With your fourth pick, man, I do agree with K-Dub, man. If Ritter's like top 15, top 20, we'd be all right. Because like you said, you're trying to take as much pressure off the young quarterback as possible, they can first full season at the starting quarterback. Goop, man, took the work out of my mouth, man, with the offensive line. If that offensive line can stay healthy from week 1 all the way to week 17, we're playoff bound, and we're looking forward to seeing what we do in the postseason. That offensive line is key for the team success. Key. We just got all these new offensive weapons with Bijan Robinson. So, yeah, that offensive line, Riddick, Arthur Smith, all real big on that offensive line, staying healthy and being able to coexist on that line. Pass rush. We went and got a new defensive coordinator. We want to get aggressive on the defensive line. We want to be able to create pressure. We don't necessarily have to sack the quarterback, but we got to make it feel uncomfortable. He shouldn't feel pretty every time he drops back and have 5 to 8 seconds to throw the ball. So I do agree with that being one of your points. We have to sack. We have to get pressure on our defense. Number 2, like you said, the benediction. Number 3, like you said on the benediction. We got to get off. We got to close games, man. Whether that's getting off the ball defense or getting that one key first down to keep the clock rolling, to take a knee. We have to be able to close games. and that slowly grows on Austin Smith. Number one, start being vanilla with the offense and being predictable. And number two, clock management, taking unnecessary time out for no damn reason. And thirdly enough, like Scoop said, when you get on the goal line, punch it in. Not 3 points, not going fourth and out or doing some weird stuff, being able to score. And I think another point we need to have a top five red going offense to be successful and be a playoff team. We don't win offense all for the past 3 years in the draft. There's no excuse why we can't put up points.
We need to use our first round pick in the red zone and use his size to an advantage. You know, we brought him in to be in a situation or whatnot. But let's be real. You got to use his skills in the red zone because that was what he was known for at the University of Florida. Jonnu Smith is nothing but a bigger version of Cordell Patterson, pretty much. If you go back and look at the film, the way Arthur Smith used him, Jonnu Smith can run between the tackles. He takes end arounds. He can throw the football. He can catch the football. Jonnu Smith is a football player, and he blocks. So when you have a guy like
that tight end from Georgia that you was talking about earlier this
Brock
week.
Bowers. Yeah, Brock Bowers. And here's the thing. If they gave, I put it this way. I believe Arthur Smith, if he was in the position to draft Brock Bowers, I know he would do it if he could do so. I just don't want to finish in the top 10 again with draft, just being real. We already know that Bowers ain't going to come to Atlanta. And they not going to, and here's the thing, they ain't giving up the farm for nobody because, as we said, Terry Fontenot, that's a New Orleans boy. You know, he grew up on government cheese, peanut butter, and all the white bread, all the light bread, and some people call it white bread, but we call it light bread where we come from, you know, that you can eat with fresh red Kool-Aid in the refrigerator. So he's still going to shop like he's getting government food stamps. If y'all paid attention to everything, he's literally shopping still, getting good players that fit the system. He's not really trying to make a splash with names. He's not really doing it. Now, he made a splash with Jesse Bates. I give him that. But we needed a veteran voice on that defense in that secondary. Let's just be real on that, Joe. We needed that because, as I said before, Richie Grant can't play pool. Jalen Hawkins to me, I feel like Jalen Hawkins is a thief. He can come up and hit you, but Jalen Hawkins is a ball hawk. He is a thief. And when you got Richie Grant, who you paying $64 million, and then you got a young Jalen Hawkins who's still getting the game to come to him, hey, it doesn't leave that much room for Grant to still be here. He's on borrowed time right now. So Grant is another guy that you really have to pay attention to because, as I said before, Coach Brandon said it. Even matter of fact, what's funny, I talked to your old coach, Coach Tony Blaylock, over the phone about this. And I asked him this because, you know, he watches the game still from a perspective of how safeties are supposed to be and him coaching defensive back school. Coach Blaylock even talked about how Grant doesn't come off the hash fast enough. You can tell that film study isn't there. He takes bad angles when he comes downhill to try to tackle people. So when you look at it, the last line of defense is that free safety and that strong safety. That is your last line of defense. They have to be able to make plays. And Grant gets beat more than none. Hawkins finally got his feet wet this year and really showed out. But the thing is, can he stay healthy? Because we know Hawkins was banged up.
Remember what I talked about when I say we'll all watch the same game, we'll see something different.
Yeah,
I'm not big on Hawkins. Like I like Jayhawk, but Richie Grant made just as many plays as Jayhawk did last year. So if you say that Richie Grant wasn't doing good this year, last year, Jayhawk wasn't either.
So okay, so we're not just gonna talk about last year. Let's talk about the whole time they've been in Atlanta. The whole time, from the time they was drafted up until now.
Contracts right now. They both on rookie contracts.
Yeah, they both on rookie contracts, but who's produced the most?
Neither one of them.
No, I'm asking. Let's talk about numbers.
Neither one of them.
But okay, so let's put it this way: it's a problem when Jalen Hawkins actually had more tackles than Richie Grant, who is a free safety. That is a problem.
So this is the thing about Richie. Richie can play both,
Yeah,
but
he
I
can.
guarantee you this: when you measure the two, Richie Grant gonna get more playing time than Jalen Hawkins is this year.
Yeah, because he's got more money on the line right now. We all know that. He's the higher
It
paid player.
doesn't. It doesn't matter. Can you play?
Here's the question. How many guys do we know that can ball and they sitting right on the side or whatever? And we even Coach Blaylock said it, and Coach Mathis said it too. It's all about this. Some of your best players don't step on the field because they're going to put the guys that's worth the most money, that they're paying the most money to, out on the field, whether they're good or bad.
Oh, the only way that I could agree with you is if the NFL wasn't built on undrafted free agents.
Very true. Very true. Because here's the thing, you got 17 of them that's Hall of Famers that were undrafted free agents.
Come on, man.
You made your own point.
But here's the other thing too. We already know who the better pro was because we got Mr. Marquise Bell made a name for himself being undrafted, being number 7, pretty much then moved up to number 2 on the depth chart and getting playing time up in Dallas. And that was a guy that I said that we should have took out of FAMU for little to nothing.
Yeah,
And
did.
Dallas got a steal with that boy.
Yeah, you did.
But we digress on that one. So getting back to it, speaking on guys that are making changes, let's talk about Mr. Drake London. Drake London is making changes in his techniques on his ball control so he doesn't have fumbleitis. Easiest way to put it.
Yeah, I
How do
mean,
y'all feel about Drake? Minus them sleeves, because all of us got mad at him when he had those sleeves on and that ball was sliding everywhere. But when he took them off, we saw a big difference in him being able to secure the ball. What do you think is going to help him out more so than these techniques that he's going to work on with ball control? Do you think it's a mental thing, or do you think it's something that it's just some guys just don't know how to hold on to the football?
well, like I was saying in other previous episodes, that everyone has something they work on. At least he has looked at the film and see that that's what I messed up on in my rookie season, and I have to improve on. So he's taken the effort to working with the coaches, and they're trying to punch that ball out every day after practice, doing all kind of drills, trying to get that ball out, and let him just be aware that they will take the ball out your hand. So hopefully he's just trying to chalk it up to having a bad rookie season, not a bad rookie season, but a rookie season where he's coughed the ball up and turned it over too many times to look at. So, I mean, I like the fact that he's working on it. So I feel like he's aware that he knows he can't wear those sleeves, and he got to hold that ball tighter and be very cognizant of defenders, punching the ball out, coming from behind. The NFL is a different beast. These guys are very smart. They're trying to feed their children and families, and they're going to do whatever it takes to get that ball out, get the ball.
Or we could do him like Vince Lombardi so we can do Drake London like the legendary Vince Lombardi did to Travis Williams, one of his best return man and running back / receivers. They took tape out of the athletic room, put tape around the football, made a little handle, and literally made him carry that ball around and hold on to it all through training camp. Just so it'll be it's mental for him that I can't leave this ball anywhere. Vince Lombardi did it a long time ago, and he told him, he said, you ain't on scholarship here. He said, you will be replaced. You can be cut. I know Drake is a first round and he ain't getting cut, but I'm just saying, you still want a guy to have that healthy fear to get better. You know what I'm saying? With the little things, as we would say. Glenn, what you think, buddy?
I agree with KW fan, man. I do appreciate him taking accountability that ball security is one of the things I need to improve on. Did it in the off season, I mean, it's just about the technique, man. How you grab the ball, man. How you come down with the football, making sure you have security and all that good stuff. That sleeve don't help. Sleeve make it slippery, especially when it's wet. I mean, regardless if we playing in the dome or not, you get sweaty. You know what I'm saying? The ball gonna pop out. So I do appreciate him doing that. I think it's a little bit mentally too, especially that rip out that freaking Khalil Mack did, man. I think he just ripped his soul along with the football during that game. But I think he'll be all right, man. As long as he's addressing it now, rather than try to address it during the season. So yeah, I'll take that any day.
I think that was something that I thought about for a long time because, like we said, you've had a couple of fumbles, key fumbles in games
Mm-hmm.
that could have swung the game and swung the tide of momentum and power in those games. Baltimore, he fumbled in the New Orleans game. He also fumbled, like you said, with Khalil Mack. Well, he didn't fumble against Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack took it from him.
Took it.
Pretty much took his cookies from him. Like pretty much Debo taking the chain. That's pretty much what Khalil Mack did. He walked up and said, "I'll take this from you, and you have nothing that you'll do about it, and you'll like it." And he proceeded to run down the field. So, looking at it for what it is, man, I think we're going to be in a situation to where I think it's going to drive him to become a better ball player, and I think that's going to help for the long run. And I'm glad that he is publicly not ashamed to say that he needed to fix it. So, Anthony Moss just stepped in real quick. I can answer this real quick. It's probably going to end up being Clark Phillips III because they're already grooming him. He's going to get some playing time.
Clark gonna have to fight for that with D Alford.
Well, here's the thing.
Another undrafted free agent, by the way.
Yeah, he played up in Canada. You're absolutely right. He went to Canada. But just think about it, dog. If here's the thing. The difference is he got a little bit more size than your boy D Alford. D Alford is a very good ball hawk, and he can tackle. But the thing is, you bringing in a young buck that's coming in that ain't coming in with any injuries, and he hungry. He hungry. And I guarantee you he was upset at the position that he got drafted in. I guarantee you that. Because he was actually slated to be a first round.
He still got to take the position from him, man. D Alpha played and he balled, so it's gonna be difficult. He's gonna have that ball out.
D Alpha has the knowledge on him, but I'll be honest with you. After what I saw last year, maybe this new defense might help D Alpha get better. But from what I saw last year, I thought he might have lost a step because D Alford is very nice in the secondary. But we also know that age is also catching up with him too.
He's 25. I know
to
do that.
I know. I just like no, but just think about it though.
What's wrong with him? He's always doing it. He throw the age in there. He's 25.
And how I ain't stopping nothing. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up.
Like
you know what? I can't. Wait a minute. I ain't gonna come at you with that one. I can't call you Skip, so I got to call you Stephen A. Hold on, Stephen A. We ain't finna do this tonight. But honestly though, I like the kid, scrappy fighter, and like I said, he remind me too much of Aeneas Williams. And that competitive streak in Clark Phillips III, he's been like that his whole time. He's been in the, pretty much on the college landscape where his name was out there. Because we pretty much saw that he went into the swamp last year and he showed out against Florida. And Florida was supposed to handle them last year. And he literally made their receivers look like child's play.
The only reason why he went late is because of his size, man. That's it. If he was taller,
remember, Aeneas Williams was a low-round draft pick coming out of Southern University. I'm sorry, the Southern University, and he was a lockdown corner from day one. Just saying.
Our money, if I could be a fly on the flagpole at camp this year, this probably gonna be the most competitive camp that the Falcons have had in a very long time.
Yeah, straight competitive.
Always, man.
I'm going.
I got to give a shout out to Gino. Gino Vision has come up into place, man. Check him out if you down in Jacksonville, Florida. Auto detailing, also professional pitches. Check him out. Definitely worth the investment. My man, Gino Vision. So outside of that, we also got to talk about, and this is something that I think Scoop is going to fall in love with.
Uh-oh.
Will Bijan Robinson surpass William Andrews and be the greatest Falcon running back of all time? Or, as my man, like Andre 3000 said, but I'm going to put this montage with Mr. Tyler Allgier. The South got something to say. We've been here. Just like Tyler Allgier, he's been here. And he shared carries and broke William Andrews' record. So, I don't think he's going to give up that mantle that easy, even though that's a first-round pick. What you think?
Who you going with first?
I want to hear your opinion because I got what I'm gonna do.
So look, I can't even use crown part because you got to be here long enough to stay, able to even get the crown. Like, the curious part for me is we're going to use both Tyler Allgier and Bijan Robinson, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that Bijan is going to be behind Ritter more than Bijan. I mean, Algier going to be more behind him than Bijan is because Bijan then got the credit of being a better receiver.
Yeah.
So I want to see like the dynamics and like when you see some of the interviews with Arthur Smith, it's almost like he like a little kid because he can vision and you can only imagine what he gonna use these guys or how he gonna use them. Because now you got Bijan Robinson who can be in the backfield or be out in the slot. You got Cordell Patterson that can be in the backfield or in the slot. He done mentioned that Jonnu Smith can be in the backfield or be at tight end or inline or outside wide. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it's gonna be used. But just to answer your question, long story short, I think that Bijan could get close. Tyler can also get close, but I don't think neither one of them, unfortunately, would be here long enough to take the crown from William Andrews.
I'm gonna be real with you on that because think about it. William Andrews played less than 9 seasons less than 8 seasons with the Falcons because of that gruesome knee injury that he had because he was on his way to a Hall of Fame career. But that record stood for almost 40 years. And think about it, Tyler Allgier did that sharing carries with Cordell Patterson and as Mr. DeKalb County himself, Mr. Duke Hunt, one of the East Side Zone. I got to put some respect on it because I love me some Duke Hunt. But I'll say this. Tyler Allgier broke that record sharing carries. Sharing carries. So imagine if he would have started from day one. Just think about that.
We would have beat New Orleans.
Easily.
Exactly.
Easily.
Exactly.
And the reason I said this, and I'm not knocking because I'm glad we got Bijan. I think he's going to be a tool for us to use. But I got to roll with Allgier. Allgier showed me a lot of grit and a lot of tough situations. We got to see that from Bijan. And you have to remember, William Andrews came in the same way that Tyler Allgier did, and he was sharing carries with with the great Haskell Stanback. Shout out to Mr. Haskell Stanback if he's watching us tonight. Lynn Kane. Then you also had Bubba Bean, who was at the end of his time with Atlanta at that time. And then, William Andrews was coming in as just a fullback sharing carries with all those guys in that backfield. So the question is, does Tyler Allgier put himself in the position to remain the top dog, even though Bijan was drafted number 1? I get the money aspect of it, but I'm saying from a standpoint of him being the veteran now and not the young guy no more, and you got the young guy nipping at your heels. I think that backfield is going to be competitive. What you think, Killian?
Well, I feel like Bijan will have all the opportunities because of where they drafted him at. But I just feel like kind of piggybacking what Scoop was saying that I don't feel like they may try to keep both of them around, but it's going to be hard to pay them because they're both going to be electric backs. And I feel like they're going to be a match made in heaven the first 3-4 years they play together until contract time comes up. They'll keep Bijan. They may have to, part ways with Allgier because he's going to be commanding big time money. So I just feel like enjoy the time that we, the time we have with both of them together on the field. Allgier do some great things. He'll rush the ball more from, a traditional running back set. And Bijan is more of a receiver where he'll be split out wide a lot. He'll be used like a la Christian McCaffrey. So he's going to be used more in a receiver type of role and that type of role like Christian McCaffrey was used. So Allgier is your traditional running back. And it's, you just got to enjoy both of them. I just feel like Allgier have some great years here, but I think for the long run, I can see Bijan being here 10 years, but I feel like when Allgier's contract is up, I feel like they're going to let him walk. They're not going to be able to match what some of these teams are going to pay Allgier. That's just my opinion.
Now, I will say this now, Ryan. Now, Arthur Smith is a historian as well. could he have in the back of his mind Gerald Riggs and William Andrews in the backfield?
Mhm.
Or let's put it this way. He could have that in his mind, but you got to remember he wasn't raised around the Falcons. He was raised around those Redskins back in the day. I'm gonna give you this here. You got a John Riggins type of running back in Tyler Allgier. He just don't have the speed that John Riggins had. Riggins was a 100-meter track champ in college and in high school. So I'm not gonna say that. I'm saying with physicality that Tyler Allgier runs with, he runs like Riggo. You have a speed back and a guy that's a multi-purpose guy like a Bijan Robinson, who would be your George Rogers. Heisman Trophy winner out of South Carolina, who was in that backfield. And then we have a scat back. Well, Avery Williams is not going to play this year, so we had our scat back. That would have been our Joe Washington. You know what I'm saying? Like they had down in DC, because Joe Washington was the scat back that would go out, catch passes, and be a nuisance with that speed and being elusive. But again, I think, and you have to look at it like this. Derrick Henry was one of his most prized possessions in Tennessee.
Mhm.
And you see that Henry is breaking down worse than a lemon that's just sold at a used car dealership right now. He breaking down. Great back, great running back, been putting up monster numbers, and he wasn't even starting when he first got in. He was splitting carries before he became the man. And you see the value of running backs is down. So I think he's got multiple backs in the chamber to really offset the injuries. I think that's what he's pretty much trying to do.
If Derrick Henry is breaking down with 1,500 yards rushing, I'll
I'll
take
take it.
it.
Because remember, he didn't fit. Hey, remember, I'll take him breaking down, putting up numbers like that. But you got to remember, they run him into the ground in Tennessee. He stays beat up now.
Well, like I said, he want to have a rotation, so that rotation will last until we can't pay both running backs. That's what I'm trying to harp on.
Well,
Mm.
K-Dub, if Tyler Allgier gets you another 1,000 yards and like 9 touchdowns, you sure you want to walk away from that?
I don't want to walk away from nothing, but can we afford both backs? That's the key thing.
Well, look at it like this. Every first round running back that you've seen drafted, Dalvin Cook, Zeke Elliott, and you look at Shady, you look at what's going on. Saquon Barkley, the Giants not getting rid of him. But I can tell you right now, all these backs that came out through that time, most of them are getting shipped out. They're not paying these cats.
No, I
They
understand.
using them and they slide.
Mhm.
So guess what? If Bijan want that money, Atlanta gonna slide from him. They gonna follow the blueprint of all the other teams, because the value of a running back is not the same as when Walter Payton was there, Emmitt Smith was there, Eric Dickinson was there. It's not the same.
No, I understand everybody on the panel, but the key thing is we have not seen Bijan play one game yet. He may have put up 1,300 yards and just make Allgier's season like it was a blip on the radar.
But Caleb, I'll say this: when the last time we had a running back that made it to the second contract?
Yeah, I mean, okay. I'll
Good
live that.
point. Damn. Good
No,
point.
don't die. No. Stand on it, bro.
A valid
Stand
point.
on it. You put it out there. You got to look at all the extremities on this. Because I got one for you, K-Dub. I get what you're saying about the blip. When you talk about the blip of him getting 13, all right, he get 1,300.
I mean,
Okay.
1,100. I mean, it is what
But
it is.
here's the thing. How many running backs do you see go through their first 3 years without a major injury? In the way that the game is played now. Look at majority of these running backs. Saquon Barkley is a monster, but he tore his knee up. Let's look at Zeke Elliott. Zeke hurt his knee. Look at what's going on with Derrick Henry. Big boy got a bad foot.
He's gonna be in a rotation.
And I'm gonna give you this. The Vikings parted ways with an all-purpose back in Dalvin Cook, or a little bit after he blew his knee out. Just saying. You look at all these running backs that have been getting hurt, and once they come back, they're damaged goods, and these teams are tossing them because the value of a running back it's a dime a dozen. A dime a dozen. So I get the hype on Bijan, but God forbid, and I'm saying it because let's be real. We've seen guys first round draft picks get hurt in their first season, and they are never the same again. So we just got to hope that he stays healthy and God gives him the strength to make it through those 17 games to see we can see what we have. Because I'll be real, there are no defenses in that conference he came out of in the Big 12. And when he went up against a defense, let's be real, he didn't do anything against Alabama. He didn't do anything against TCU. I'm just saying, anytime he's come up against a defense, everybody's gonna say, "Oh, well, he didn't have no help." No, they don't play defense in that conference. And he put up good numbers. But when he's come up against competition, what does he produce? That's why I got a question mark with it.
I mean, like I said, you can keep on doubting the guy. I mean,
I'm not doubting him. I'm putting stuff out here that's for real, bro.
I mean, I love it. Come with it, his story. If you want to doubt the guy,
I know we being real about it. I want him to do well. I was happy at first. I was pissed at first, but then I got happy because I knew the possibilities of how he could be used. But let's be real though. We could have got the same type of running back in Tajay Spears out of Tulane in the later round.
I mean, I got Kenny McIntosh.
I mean, I wanted Zach Evans. I mean, that's just me. But it is what it is.
I get it. No, you know what? It's been a long time since me and the right-hand man that we done went blow for blow, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. For once, I got somebody different in the lip sparring ring instead of my man Scoop. Scoop is what they say. What's the dude's name in Rocky? Tony Duke, Apollo's old trainer. That's him right now. He's sitting there trying to egg it on. Throw the damn
Listen to Duke. But no.
I ain't talking about the young Duke. I'm talking about the old Duke. The one where he told him, all your strength, all your power, throw the damn towel. You know, rest in peace to Tony Burton, who played the original Duke, man. But for real though, I think he's gonna be good though. Like,
what's up?
Nah, what I was just gonna say, nobody's doubting Bijan, man. We picked him that high for a reason. But we looking at the fact that what Tyler Allgier gave you in production, and he turned around and dug it again. And then the following year he gets you close to another 1,000 yards. You're not gonna walk away from that. I don't care who you are. No franchise is gonna walk away with that. Considering the fact where we drafted him from.
Walk away from anything. That's the key thing. I want to keep it. I love me some Allgier. The key thing is I feel like organization, like he said, going back to them being cheap. I feel like they're gonna keep one back and move on from there.
And it's gonna be Allgier because Allgier was the fourth rounder that we took, and he was the cheaper one. They gonna get rid of the high price guy. I can tell you that.
We can't say what's gonna happen in the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, I feel like they'll go with the better back in the next 2 to 3 years. If it's Allgier, then Bijan out looking for another.
Bro, do you remember the example that I gave you a little earlier when I said Terry still act like he in the projects in New Orleans, man? That boy still shopping at the corner store getting penny cookies, cheap little nickel gumballs. You know what I'm saying? He literally unloaded Matt Ryan and Julio Jones's contract when they was heavy, and we took a penalty. That man ain't scared to get rid of no money.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to get at is you're going to take the better back 2 to 3 years from now when it's time for the contract to be up. Like, we just need that offensive line to hold up and need both of these backs to have some great years.
But so I'm gonna tell y'all like this. See, we missing the point because see, who gonna be still the coach? Like, there's a sex in this offense. If Arthur Smith is still here, Arthur Smith made or encouraged CP to be a top 100 player in the backfield. Like, he took a return specialist, put him in the backfield because my boy Mike Davis wasn't doing it, and turned him into something. So it don't matter. Like, he done got criticized for having King Henry in Tennessee, saying that, you know, King Henry was the one that made him get that head coaching job. But he done came to Atlanta, took a return specialist, put him in the backfield, and now he's a top 100 player. It don't matter who in the backfield for Arthur Smith. So if Allgier ends up with 2,000 yards and Bijan Robinson ends up with 2,000 yards, it don't matter. Like, you're going to probably have another running back 2-3 years down the road. You just pick them up.
Yeah.
because he believes in his system. It's just
Let's
plug and play. It ain't no different from Shanahan. Shanahan do the same thing.
hope
Now,
one day he gets some sense and he go up, and he goes up to Athens and take one of them boys that's in that backfield that's like right now, like a Branson Robinson or
ooh,
the
Lord,
kid
yeah.
or Roderick Robinson or somebody that's gonna produce. Because I can tell you right now, Kenny McIntosh
Right.
gonna be a problem in the league.
He
A
should have
problem.
drafted him.
Swiss Army
he
knife.
should have drafted
Yeah,
him.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I know they don't draft Georgia players, but here's the thing: there are other SEC schools that you can go to and grab some good players. Like you have Veron, you got Justice Haynes in Alabama right now. Let's be real. Now they like Bama boys. Guess what? You get a Justice Haynes, speed, power, good vision. Maybe he might be a guy that they look at if they part ways with a Bijan Robinson, and you bring a guy that's a local kid because for some reason they have a system right now where they're going after a lot of local guys. You bring in a local guy like that, that'll put butts in seats because Justice Hayes was an electric player in high school and possibly will carry forward at Alabama. But we already know Georgia gonna end up thumping them draws anyway from Bama this year. If they get to the SEC championship, we ain't gonna get into that. I know we got Bama
Mm-mm.
fans, but
But nah,
it's
man,
been
I think Bijan gonna do his thing, man.
Yeah.
yeah, we hope so. So final thoughts this evening, gentlemen. With everything that we've talked about, what's something that you feel as if the Falcons are going to take away from the mini camp going into training camp coming up soon? What do you think is going to really be a difference for this team?
Attitude. I think our attitude coming toward the training camp is going to be a lot more competitive. You're going to feel people. You're going to see players with a lot more edge on them than you think because they're fighting for a position. They're fighting for a spot and whatever. They're trying to make a name for themselves. And I think our new defensive coordinator wants to see who really wants to be here, who really wants to wear that red and black, who really fits my philosophy on defense or whatever. So I think attitude and being consistent is going to be some of the things we look forward to with the Falcons team.
Well, I feel like leadership. We're gonna see a lot of leaders in this. We brought a lot of leaders onto this team, and the leadership will guide us to the promised land that we need to go to. We just need accountability from the guys in that secondary that we brought in, guys on that line that we brought in, and the offensive players that we brought in. But we need, like I said, Desmond Ritter to make that next step. That's the main key to the puzzle. So if Desmond Ritter plays up until, like I said, that top 15, top 20 quarterback in the league, and that defense holds up into a top 10 defense, we're gonna have the sky's the limit. And then everyone in Atlanta will be getting on board because everybody in Atlanta loves a winner. That place can be sold out every game. All we got to do is win. That's the key to the thing.
Scoop.
Hey man, for me, my final thoughts is competition. Iron sharpens iron. So they brought in all these new additions to this team. They didn't bring those guys in just to get rid of them. They brought them in there to compete. So those who've been in this roster, them young guys, they on the clock, man. And I'm looking forward to this draft class too because a lot of people are not talking about this draft class. But I suspect that this draft class is going to play a big part in our success as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so for me, I'm gonna speak on the defensive side because we've talked about the offense. We piggybacked on the glamorous side. I'm gonna talk about the gritty side of the team. For me, I think what we take away is you're bringing in an old school coach who played in the league, a little different, than Dean Pease who didn't play in the league. It's a difference when you got a guy that has put on pads, who has been on that same battlefield that you've been on, and he's been in all kinds of situations, playoff games, and anything you could think of. And he was a first round draft pick. And I'm talking about Mr. Jared Craig. That is your assistant defensive coordinator. So he comes in with a pedigree that backs Rich Nielsen. I'm sorry, Ryan Nielsen, excuse me. Ryan Nielsen had a top 10 defense from the time he stepped foot in New Orleans until the day that he left, creating havoc with pass rushes and doing everything with guys that might not even be on the radar. Like Marcus Davenport came out of San Antonio, a
Mhm.
school that was brand new, and he just happened to look over there and he was able to get talent. You know, even though we can't stand Chauncey Gardner-Johnson because he got more mouth than he got game, he turned that dude into a valuable asset in that secondary for New Orleans. And he had the big name corner with Marcus Lattimore, who has been a threat, who's been a problem for Atlanta since he's been out of Ohio State. So looking at what pieces that we have, and then you're bringing in experienced veterans who are smart, aggressive, that are going to come off the ball and they're going to do things that are going to bring an attitude and a swagger to this defense. I really feel that this defense is going to turn a corner this year. We might not see it at the beginning of the season, but I believe by the time the middle of the season hits, you're going to see a lot more pressure. You're going to see a lot more blitzes. You're going to see guys comfortable and flying around the ball. But that's what I got for you. We're going to save the rest for next week. I want to thank my guys, Scoop, the Black Wall Street Journal, better known as the AJC, Mr. DeKalb County, Decatur boy. My man, Graybeard. You know, a little salt and pepper don't hurt nobody. Put a little seasoning in it, just make the meat taste better. You know what it do. And, you
Yeah,
know,
man.
I got my right hand man, my player, my partner. You know, I just don't even have no more names for you, man. You just clutch all the time. My man Killian K Dub, Killer K Dub.
So,
Appreciate y'all boys for coming on to the show. We definitely are gonna be here next week at 8 o'clock. We might have a guest for you guys, but you guys got to stay tuned, man. I love you guys. Thank y'all for joining us. And we definitely appreciate you for spending your night with the Birdcage tonight. And we definitely can't wait to have you around next week. Birdcage has got some big things coming up. Stay tuned for you loyal viewers that watch us on Thursday nights at 8. We got a little something coming up for the fans. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you know, if you got family, tell them you love them, whether you're upset at them or not. It don't matter. Life is too short. Kiss your family. Tell them that, hey, we still connected, even though we might not like each other, but it's all good though. Much love to everybody that's participated tonight. Thank you guys for coming out. I love you, and we out of here.